Right. Welcome to the Way to a Great Marriage cast. I am Tony. This is LaRonda.
Hi.
LaRonda is going to sing one of Miss Omi's songs. That's her mother that she wrote years ago, and this is dedicated to Omi.
Well, I wish I could sing it, but I don't know the tune to it, so I'm going to read it. It's called His Power. First verse. Early one morning, as I was praying and I was talking to God, I said, Lord, I do love and I want to serve you while on this earth I trod. I must feel your power every hour. Without you, I'm nothing at all. He gave me direction and told me to listen. When the thunder began to sound, the lightning was flashing. I kept on asking, oh Lord, is that you I hear now? Oh, what power God shows me, but how God showed me that hour. I asked him in Jesus' name. He said, my child, you must serve me. I'll always be with thee from morning till the sun goeth down. I'll never leave you. I'll never forsake you. Go bring the lost little ones in. My blessings I'll give you. My promises are true. I'll always be your best friend. That was inspired by the Holy Spirit, written by Oma Shepherd, 9/20/1997. Thank you, Mom, for listening to God.
We are still in our book, Love is a Choice, by some doctors at the Mayo Clinic. And we're in part 5. Hey, Bailey.
Hi, Bailey.
Hey.
What'd she say?
The part 5 is the 10 stages of recovery. We have, hey, Terry.
Hi, Terry.
Better get my glasses on because I look like Neri instead of Terry. Exploring your relationships is the first chapter, chapter 13. And under that chapter, we have.
What's that say? I can't see. I didn't know.
I was getting ready to read it.
Oh, sorry.
The healing roller coaster ride. So it's going to be a bumpy ride in the beginning. You guys are, it's not an overnight success, and that's what I guess couples think. They go to marriage counseling, and then it's going to be all downhill from there. But it could get worse. It has to get worse before it gets better. Yeah. That's what I always say when I'm remodeling a house. I got to tear out a demo, and so somebody would come in after a demo and said, "What happened?" Well, it's got to get worse before it gets better.
Right.
Stage 1 is the exploration and discovery. You kind of got to look instead for elements in your present life that are taking an inordinate amount of time and energy. What can you not live without, either figuratively or literally? TV, your job, the SOP. Anyway, I don't know what that one is.
I don't either.
But I guess take do a time budget. Do like you would with your money. You take and maybe the first week just write down, get you a schedule that has all the hours on it, from 12 midnight to 12 midnight, an hourly basis, and write down what you're doing each hour, and then break that down, see what you're spending most of your time doing. What means so much to you that you will spend time and money on it to the exclusion of other things? Most important, what in your life will you hide or sneak around to do, lest someone finds out to what extent you're doing it? Simply sift them out and know them. So here we have 10 stages of the recovery curve. No pain is on the left hand side, exploration and discovery. Then we hit the first hill, and it's relationship history, addiction control, the goodbyes. Then you have grief, and the when you hit the bottom, relationship history again, new experiences as you come up the incline, and re-parenting, accountability, and maintenance when we get back at the top. Other, uh, I have a feeling we're going to talk about each one of those, so don't get freaked out. But you can't put that on autoplay. Maybe do a loop.
Yeah.
Other targets of your exploration and discovery is the lost childhood issue. So, let's see. I did say hey Terry, right?
You said hey Terry. Yes.
Okay. The person who can listen best is God.
Yes.
The more you bring him into the process, particularly from this point on, the easier and swifter will be your recovery process. First, ask him to lift the codependent blinders from your eyes. Take off the rose-colored glasses.
They're off. Off and thrown out.
Now tell a human friend or counselor your tell, but tell it also to God. That sounds a lot like tell God, yourself, and somebody else. That's one of the steps in Celebrate Recovery, and you can find a sponsor to tell it to at Celebrate Recovery. Sounds like something that you might want to do this step as a couple. And the seemingly simple act of telling one's story can in itself exercise a profound healing influence. And so we talk about that, setting aside of, we go through the steps on how to do that, setting aside the time, where to have it, and making it a quiet place, and allow 2 to 3 hours to do that, and so on in Celebrate Recovery in the lessons. The shearer telling cracks the wall of denial. I get, whenever that you get something out, it seems a lot different than it does in your mind whenever you're telling somebody else. You can see how ridiculous some things are. The relationship history or inventory. And so consider far-flung family members.
Yeah.
If you have deep codependent patterns in some way or the other, those patterns will affect every family you are in. It will shape or distort your membership in each of those groups. So any group that you go into, you're going to affect them by your codependent behavior. Change in any one member of the family group ramifies. Is that ramifies?
Yes.
Ramifies into all the other members, whether that change is in you or in someone else. Then you have your relationship inventory. Bring your relationship into clear and deliberate focus. And so we go into that, and then, however, such an inventory of relationship may lead you to a great deal of self-awareness. Prepare your list and examine it carefully. Check it twice. Deliberately trying to pick out patterns. Share it in private conversation with God. He remembers those people better than you do. He can provide insight. He can help you to remember things that you're not remembering too. The goal is to seek and find reoccurring themes in your relationships. Chapter 14, Breaking the Addiction Cycle. Stage 3, Addiction Control. This is why a client caught up in some kind of ongoing addiction must as part of the recovery process, go into at least a temporary absence from the addictive agent or behavior.
Mm-hmm.
And you may be asking, why are we talking about addictions, and why are we talking about
And this is supposed to be marriage.
this is supposed to be marriage? Well, the codependent is attracted to somebody who is an addict, and because they need somebody to fix, and so so this is the addict side of the codependent relationship, and so then we have the 10 stages of the recovery process. First of all, we went over these in name, but now I'll tell you what they are. Explore and discover. You will explore your past and present to discover the truth about you. Remember, it's about your own thoughts and feelings. So we're discovering you. The number 2, relationship history inventory. You'll examine and perhaps reset your personal boundaries, and so you go back and you think about how the relationship started, how that you had a lack of boundaries, and what you did wrong, and how that you'd like to set those boundaries now. Number 3, addiction control. You'll get a handle on your addiction and compulsions and take the first steps toward mastering them. Of course, now remember, the codependent, they have an addiction as well. They're addicted to the addict. So I keep that in mind. So we're both having to do recovery. That's why Celebrate Recovery works so well, because it's for the whole family.
Everybody's in recovery.
Everybody's in recovery.
Yeah.
Leaving home and saying goodbye. You'll say the goodbyes appropriate to healing. You may think you did that years ago. Probably you didn't. Grieving your loss. Is number 5. Grieving is both the bottom of the curve and the very pit of your emotions and feelings, and also the start upward. It's almost like the dentist hanging up his drill. You know he's not done yet, but the worst is over. Number 6, new self perceptions. So those of you who have self-image, let's listen to this.
I'm
issues.
listening.
You will gain fresh perceptions about yourself and make new decisions. What an eye-opener this stage is. Number 7, new experiences. You will build a foundation of new experiences to bolster the decisions you've just made. Reparenting. Number 8. You will rebuild your past in a sense, and also the present and future, as you become involved in what we call the reparenting. Number 9, relationship accountability. You will establish accountability for your new and refreshing personal relationships, and you'll find accountability partners where?
SCR.
Celebrate Recovery.
Yes.
Number 10, maintenance. You will embark on a maintenance program that will keep you on track for the remainder of your life. So, how do you get out of Celebrate Recovery?
You don't.
You go to work in the church, or you become a leader in Celebrate Recovery.
Yeah.
That's the only 2 ways out of Celebrate Recovery. You're in it for life.
Yeah.
To heal a marriage, you see, you must begin by healing yourself.
Yeah.
And so, you love not by choice, but by need is the problem with the codependent. And so, we need to take a time out. The theory is to break the addiction cycle, whatever that takes. And so you may need to take a break. I remember I called mine a sabbatical. It was way too long. It was 6 months, but you may need to take a couple of weeks, a month sabbatical from each other. so that you can come back together and start over.
Well, you know what we do is after we do our waycast, he works on his next waycast, and I'm upstairs, and I very other than popping us some popcorn and bringing him some down, I don't see him.
Yeah, but the
next
idea
morning.
is well that you're taking this sabbatical. You you work on it yourself
Right.
while that you're away from the other person, because as the as a codependent who's addicted to a person,
Right.
I can't work on myself in the presence of my addiction.
Sure.
I've got to I've got to pull myself away from my addiction for a little while and work on myself. That's
Sure.
whenever I would start reading books like this. Is during those period times I would work on myself whenever that I had those breaks, separations or breakups or whatever they were, and
Right.
they helped me heal,
Right.
and because I was working on me during those
But
periods of
6
time,
months,
and
like you said, is
that's
not.
way too long. And
That's
all the
not a
cows,
break.
everybody told her that told us that was too long,
Yeah.
but we stuck with it, anyway.
Anywho's that didn't work out too good.
As you went. It should have. We stuck with it, but somehow or another we lasted through 6 months.
Yeah, exactly.
But without those, I think she was in heaven during those 6 months. But anyway, without those bases, we cannot begin their own individual recoveries. You've got to work on you, not us. That's the problem. Is the codependent? I'll read it whenever I get to it.
I didn't see it until you said.
The codependent wants to work on us, or you, or they want to work on the addict or the other person, or us at the very least. They never want to work on themselves. That's the problem with with codependent and the dependent. They don't have a problem. The other person has a problem. They want to work and fix the other person. And so this is the time for them to work on yourself if you're a codependent, which is likely that you are, because we all are. By and large, 75% of the people are probably.
Right.
She has been helping me work on myself. I can't. Myself's. Thankful for LaRonda. Myself's.
Myself. Yeah. Probably. I'm thankful. Brother.
Sorry, Elaine. I'm kidding. I'm joking because you have multiple selves.
We all do.
Setting boundaries, and there's actually a book I've probably got around here by Thomas and Cloud called Boundaries. I probably gave it to Philip to read.
And we've got it on. I've got it on my phone too.
Boundaries?
Yeah, maybe we got.
No, you have. You can sign up at boundaries.me.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has a online program.
Yes, and that's
but
what I
there's
have.
actually a book. They have a boundaries for everything. They have boundaries for husbands and wives, which would probably be good to read in this case. Right. Then there's boundaries with teens, boundaries with kids. Okay. They have boundaries with everything, but there's also just a book called Boundaries that I would encourage everybody to read. It's okay, that's true. Brief. The first thing is brief residential separation. Maybe you two get away for a weekend to separate from each other. Maybe like like a man goes on the
men's retreat.
A men's retreat. Well, like the Emmaus walks that we do. Like we're getting ready to go on a wild retreat, but it's in a MOM, M-O-M, men of M-O-W.
M-O-W, men of worship.
Men of worship and women of worship. But that's where the couple does it together. But like Emmaus, one weekend is the men, the first weekend's the men, and the second weekend is the women's. Is that way you got a weekend apart where you both can work on yourselves. Yeah,
and you're praying and all doing wonderful
things. That's an excellent opportunity there. Of course, we've renamed it from Emmaus because Emmaus went woke, but anyway.
Yeah. What's the new name of it? Do you remember?
Because the Methodist, it was run by the Methodists, and the Methodists went woke, and they lost most of their churches.
Do you remember what they
because of that.
renamed it?
No.
Okay.
Something like I don't know.
A walk to disciples or something like that.
Yeah.
A discipleship
I'm not
walk.
sure.
I can't remember.
But there's other retreats, and I went on
Mhm.
one. What was it? Well, they used to have. What did T.J. Jakes?
T.D. Jakes.
He had those. He had men conferences.
Yeah, there were some good ones.
And then I went to one back in 2015, but I can't remember what the name it was. That was Priscilla Shriver's dad did.
I remember.
But anyway, so brief residential separation. I mean, it may just be a weekend. I'm not saying it has to be 2 weeks. Whatever, get whatever your accountability, your sponsors tell you is the best way of doing that, or a counselor. It is seek their advice how long that this should be. A temporary cessation of sexual involvement.
What was that?
A temporary cessation of sexual
Sensation?
Cessation. A stop.
Oh.
Cease. Cease sexual involvement for a minute.
Oh, okay.
Because usually the codependent is addicted to the sex too in the relationship, in every aspect.
How long should that stop?
Like I'm saying,
a weekend.
Maybe while you're on, that's what we're talking about. While you're on this retreat.
One weekend.
Well, it should be maybe once a week as it is anyway.
Yeah.
Time limit on exposure to each other, and so you as well to help the codependent develop their own sense of self-being. Set a specific physical or verbal abuse boundaries. And so you saying certain words or doing certain things. So suspend victimization. Oh, you hurt my phone. You broke my nail. Anyway. Suspend any outside romantic interest or affairs immediately.
Please.
Yes.
Speaking of that.
Yesterday.
Look, here's your wedding band.
Oh.
I forgot to put it
I take it off whenever I get home.
Every time we take
and
our
then she
rings
brings
off.
it down here. And then
well, then we do our weight cast. I have to put mine back on. I forget to.
Okay, so as in yesterday, not you don't even need to contact them again. They'll figure it out.
Oh yeah.
You don't need to say.
See you later. Adios.
Text them and say it's over.
Au revoir.
You don't even. They'll figure it out if you block them.
Yeah.
And delete their phone number from your phone forever.
Yes.
They'll figure it out. And so suspend individual compulsions. And so I would say that would be anything that is a hurt habit or hang up.
Right. True.
Avoiding the New Year's resolution syndrome.
This year I'm going to.
Right. Rick Warren says that never works.
No.
And so we tend to, that's why resolutions never work. God's power is essential, not willpower. That's the problem, is we often think, well, we want to do it in our own willpower, which I and the AAs of the world, they call it white knuckling. You're doing it in your own volition. You got to do it through Christ. And that's why that I was surprised that this was a Christian book after I started reading it. It was just a God thing. I like I said, I found it in the library at Placer County, and they had a book sale. I think I paid like 50 cents for it. And then the companion for it, I got the workbook at Ollie's. The next week, I was looking through the books at Ollie's, and there was the workbook.
Wow.
For it. And it
that was
like
a confirmation.
Bam. a God thing. You need to read this book and do the workbook.
Do the workbook, buddy, right now.
Yeah, maybe it will change your life and see what happens. I married LaRonda as a result.
Hello.
It's this book's fault, okay? She can blame the book.
I'm blaming the book.
You must have God's enablement in this, and so it takes God. You can't do it on your own. First, he first prayed daily for insight and strength to act upon it. So you may not be able to immediately. That's why we give a blue chip was for one day that you're promising the next 24 hours you're going to be sober, but you may have trouble doing that. So you're getting a blue chip every week.
Every week.
And so
I've took several.
And so
myself.
you start praying daily for insight and the strength to act upon your addiction to either a person or to a hurt habit or hang up. Right. Second, he worked to change himself, and last, so we have to work on ourselves, not on the other person, not on the relationship, but on the individuals. And that's the worst problem with marriage counseling, is because they see as their job is to work on the relationship and keep it together, regardless of whether it's harmful for one or the other.
Right.
Toxic. Whichever one that they can is the weakest, then they work on them and which is usually the codependent, and get them to concede and do all these things to keep the relationship together, and that's not healthy.
Now, as a Christian counselor, when I was kind of counseling a lot at church, I would bring the woman in. I would talk to her alone. Right. I would bring the man in. I would talk to him alone. Right. And then I would bring the two together.
Well, they usually do that, but then the talking alone, they figure out which one that they can manipulate into working to the relationship together. They tell me that manipulation, if it's for the good of the person, then that's okay.
Yeah. No.
But see, really, that's what I'm saying is they really each one needs to be working on themselves individually,
and that's what you're supposed to tell them.
And that's why lots of times you go to counseling and you feel like that you haven't accomplished anything,
right?
Because you haven't, because they're just. But if you're improving, if you're the only one doing the work in the relationship, at least you're learning something about yourself. So.
Right.
Last, inventoried his relationship and staying alert for the problems that had cropped up before. And so we've gotten quite a bit of time up, so maybe we should stop there and save the we're not going to get through a whole section this time. That's probably the rest of the book is this section.
All right.
So next time, leaving home and saying goodbye.
Yeah. We'll see how that turns out.
That sounds like a cliffhanger to me.
How does that work out for us?
Leaving home and saying goodbye.
See you later. Adios. What's Bailey saying?
She said that a long time ago.
Oh,
it's
sorry.
It's okay. It's true.
Oh, okay.
And so she doesn't want to leave anybody out. The glasses match. How'd you do that?
I don't know. I didn't do it on purpose.
They're both identical.
They are.
Okay.
All right.
So that concludes the Waycast, the Way to a Great Marriage Cast tonight. We do ask that you like, and that you did we get any likes?
I don't know. Did Bailey give us the like?
No, she's.
Bailey, you forgot us.
Sorry, I'm distracted tonight. But we ask that you like and that you comment like Terry and Bailey.
Thank you,
has
Terry
done.
and Bailey.
Ask questions. If your question's good enough, we may make a Waycast in the future out of it. We'll definitely address your question and your comment in the next Waycast. And then subscribe. Okay. Yes. Thank you for the like, Bailey. Elaine.
Thank you, Elaine Bailey.
And so the subscribe, because you may not be able to see all of our content if you don't, because YouTube does not like Christian marriages or anything wholesome. And so they may hide our content from non-subscribers.
Yep.
Then we
Share.
then we share, and yeah, we share. I ask you to share, if you would, with those that you love. Especially if you know somebody that doesn't know the Lord as their personal Savior. I've pinned to the top of our YouTube channel, Against All Odds. I believe it's a great evangelistic tool that you could, if you know somebody that's lost that God has laid upon your heart, please send them that waycast, and hopefully it will help them in some way.
And hit the notification ding 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 bell, and when we come on, it will notify you, so that you know when we're coming on. You can harass us.
You can come on and harass us when we're like this.
Yes.
And so, with that, we say
good night, until we meet again. Adios, au revoir, I'll leave the same till then.
And though it's always sweet sorrow to part,
You'll know you'll always remain in my heart. Good night, sleep tight, and let the best There's a wish and a prayer that every dream comes true. And now till we meet again, adios, au revoir, I'll say.
good night.
We love you.
And don't ever forget that you are truly loved.
Transparent half hour.